Okay, so we have question 81. This is Mr. Serrano here reviewing for the CLT, Classic Learning Test. And the first question 81 is 3 to the second power over 2 to the second power. Now the exponent tells me how many factors to write. The exponent is 2. So I'm going to write 2 times the factor 3 over on the bottom 2 times the factor 2, and factor means to multiply. So I'm multiplying 3 times 3, which is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. So that's expanding the exponent, which was a 2, and so my answer is D, 9 over 4. 82, triangle A is similar to triangle B. Now, similar triangles have equivalent or the same measurement of their angles. So if one triangle is 30, 60, and 90, any triangle that is 30, 60, and 90 is going to be similar. So in this case, it's not 30, 60, and 90, it's 30 and 70. So we know that 30 and 70 add up to be 100, and we know, and it is in your reference sheet at the beginning, that the 3 angles add up to 180. So let me find all the angles of the first triangle. So I'm going to subtract 100 from 180 because those 2 angles add up to 100, and I'm gonna get 80. So the measurements of the 3 angles are 30, 70, and 80. And I'm going to see any of these numbers match my choices. A is 20, that's not 30, 70, or 80. B is 40. C is 60. Finally, D gives me the 80. So that is the measure of one of the angles of triangle A because they have the same equivalent angles, angle measurements, if you will. So 83, if A is an even positive integer. So you can pause the video as I erase, as I need to scroll up. All right, so we can see 83. 83 is an even positive integer. So what are those? The even positive integers are 2, 4, 6, and so on, divisible by 2. It's better not to use 2 because that's the first number. We want to use something like 4. So this says that 3A is add. Of course, A, we're going to make A equal 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. So 3A is add? No, because 12 is even. A to the second power is even. That would mean 4 to the second power, which again is 4 times 4, which is 16. That is even, so that may be the answer. Let's double check. A plus 2 is add. So 4 plus 2, that would be 6. That is not, 6 is even, not add. And then A minus 3 is even. 4 minus 3 is 1, and 1 is add, not even. So indeed the answer there has to be B. Okay, the area of a circle. Let's remember that the area of a circle, is equal to pi times the radius times the radius. So we have a radius of 5 centimeters. So we simply need to say pi from the formula times the radius 5 squared. That means pi times 5 times 5 5 times 5 times 5 is 25. So this is going to be pi 25 or 25 pi. The units to the second power because it's area, cm in this case, centimeters. So I see that choice C is the correct answer. Okay, let's read 85 together. Diego is a member of the football team and the basketball team at his high school. So Diego, if we do a Venn diagram, Diego is in both the football team and the basketball team. So Diego is here. All right, that's Diego. Right? And now Brian is a member of 3 teams, but only one he shares with Diego. So either Brian is in the football or is he in the basketball team with Diego, but never with both. So that's what I said. It's not on both. He shares only one. Okay, so I can see that that is the same as answer C. Brian does not play both football and basketball. If he did play both, then he wouldn't be sharing only one. He'd be sharing 2 teams, 2 sports. All right. So now pause the video, make the notes as I need to scroll up or down. I don't remember which way it was. Let's look at number 86. 6 circular game chips can fit inside each holding cylinder in a board game. So we have some kind of cylinder. Takes me a while to find my drawing tools. So they can hold 6 game chips. So we're gonna put the chips there as layers. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. I think I got it. Okay, so that's 6. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Okay. They are 7. So whatever this is times 7. There are 7 cylinders. Okay, each filled halfway. So we don't need all 6 chips, only half of them, which is obviously 3. So they come half empty or half full, depending if you're a half empty person or a half full or both, or it's always filled, half with chips, half with air. Anyway, these are 3 chips and there are 7 cylinders, so 3 times 7 is 21. Answer B. Great. Moving right on, 87. Ms. Gutierrez has picking students their favorite color, and she has 20 students in total, I should say 24. And they like 4. 4 of them like blue. All right, so 4 over 24 has to be the same as one of these fractions. 1 over 5, 1 over 6, 1 over 4, or 1 over 2. Okay, so this needs to be simplified all the way until the numerator at the top is 1. So let's start dividing by the same number, both the top and the bottom of the fraction. So we divide by 2 first because they're both even. And when we do that, we can see that that is going to be 2 over 12. All right, let's divide by 2 again. We can divide by the same factor, the top and the bottom, then we're simplifying the fraction. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. Only one answer gives me 1 over 6. That answer is A. So that is the correct answer. Okay, I'm going to erase the drawing so you can pause the video again and pause it as many times as you want, because I need to scroll. Okay, now the triangle question. Okay, so question number 88 is saying, is asking for the value of angle Y. How would I know? I mean, I know that 3 angles add up to 180, but the key is on this line. This line means that that is the same length as this line. And we know that this length of that line or side is determined by the angle across. So this angle here of 65 tells me the length, or is responsible for the length of this side. Because if the angle was a little longer, more than 65 degrees, you can see that then the triangle is gonna have gonna go that way, and it's gonna be a different length. Let's imagine that that's what happened. If it's 65, more than 65, that side is going to be longer. Anyway, it is not. So this means that this segment or side of the triangle, which is equivalent to this one is, the size depends on the angle across. So angle Y, which is what they're looking for. Because the segments are equal, that means that the angles have to be equal, since the angles are responsible for the length of each side. So Y is 65 degrees. By the way, if they were asking for this angle Z, then we would have to do the 65 plus 65, which is 130, and so 180, which is all 3 of them, minus 130, that would give me 50 degrees for Z. And we can see that 50 is an option here, so be careful. What is the question really asking? Is it asking for Y, for Z, or for any combination thereof? So we really need to be careful not to rush into picking a number that seems to be the right answer. Okay, the x-intercept. So the x-intercept of any function or equation is the value of a point, of a coordinate point that lies on the x-axis, which means that y is 0. So let's say we have a point here. This would be an x-intercept of whatever line, and this would be the y-intercept. So this is the y-intercept because this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis, and so this point right here is the x-intercept. So what is the value of y for the x-intercept? Y is 2 there, y is 1 there, and y is -1 there. I can assume that the height of this point for y is 0, right? 0, the origin. So y is 0. I need to find the value of x when y is 0 using this equation. Y is equal to 2x minus 8. But y, we said, is 0. We're going to substitute 0 here is equal to 2x minus 8. Now, to solve for x, to find the value of x when y is 0, we need to add 8 on both sides. And when we do, we're going to find out that the new equation, which I'm going to move over here now, is 8 is equal to 2x. Obviously, now divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 4. So when When y is 0, x is 4 using this equation. So the x-intercept given here, the only choice I don't have the whole point for 0, but it is 4 for x. Okay, so pause as I erase or delete again. Okay, and now I have number 90, the ratio of protons to neutrons in one atom. So let's do this. We have to be organized with this. We're gonna write protons, and just like our drawers for our t-shirts and socks, we have to keep them at the same level. So protons and then neutrons. Your question is, what if you put neutrons on top? That's okay as long as you are consistent. What does that mean? It means that the element Z has, the ratio is protons and then neutrons. So if they give you 3, that is the first word they gave you, proton. So I'm gonna put 3 here on the same level as protons, and then 4 for the second word, and I'm gonna put that there. Now they're asking what happens if element Z contains 12. So again, this is a proportion. So we don't know the number for neutrons. Conveniently, we're gonna use an n. And this is two fractions being equal to each other, so it is a proportion. The way to solve it is to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 3 times n, which is 3n, and 4 times 12, which is 48. Obviously, divide by 3, divide by 3, no calculator, so n is going to be equal to, let's do the, this is in over out, a fraction is in over out, and so we're gonna do, out goes the 3, in goes the 48, and then we divide. 3 goes into 4 one time, 3 times 1 is 3, which we're gonna make negative, and so we get 1. Let's drop the 8. So now how many times does 3 go into 18? 6 times. 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18, so that would give me 0 as a residue. So it is 16. So 16 is my answer, D. 91, a student comes up with the following rule that the hypotenuse of a right triangle is always exactly 2 units longer. All right, so let's see if this is true. So this is the hypotenuse is the largest side. So in this case, it's 5 for A, 5. So let me see, if it was 2 units longer, when I subtract 2, I'm gonna get 3, and indeed, I have a 3 here, so maybe this student is right. Now I have 6, 8, and 10, which by the way, it is a right triangle, because we're gonna need the 6, 8, and 10 sides of a right triangle, or if you want to draw it, because we're gonna need 6, 8, and 10 soon. So I'm gonna put the shortest side is 6, 8 is the other side, and then the longest side is the hypotenuse. Across from the right angle is 10. So that's a right triangle, and again, 10 minus 2 will be 8. So he's right so far. So far, that the hypotenuse is 2 units longer than one side. So I have my 8 there. Okay, so then I have 8, 15, and 17. 17 minus 2 is 15. Do I have a side of 15? Yes, I do. Only one to prove him wrong. D, a right triangle with side lengths of 7, 24, and 25. I think this is, the question is disprove. In other words, it is wrong. In other words, not always when we subtract 2 are we gonna get the length of another side. So this is exactly what happens here. 25 minus 2 is equal to 23. And unfortunately, for my smart student who was onto something with the known values that he knew, and it's a good pattern to recognize. However, in this case, 25 minus 2 is 23, and the sides are not 24, not 7, only 23. So this would be the correct answer, disproving such statement. So that's what that is. Again, I'm going to erase and scroll so you can pause the video now as we need to keep moving fast. Question 92, what is the slope of 3y minus 6x is equal to 10? Now we know that in order to get the slope, the equation needs to start with y equals and y equals only. So we need to do what we have been doing as of late, which is to leave the y alone. The name of the game is to go to y equals, and so we need to get rid of the x's. If it's a negative 6x, I'm going to add 6x, and I'm going to add 6x on the other side of the equal sign. I did that so that a minus and a plus gives me a 0x, no x's, so that's gone. So all I have left is 3y, and I bring that down. I cannot mix x's with 10, so I'm just going to write 6x plus 10. And then the last step is to divide by 3. So to cancel the 3's into a 1y, so y equals 6 divided by 3x, which is 2x, plus 10 divided by 3, which would be my y-intercept. But my slope, when it is solved for y like this, the slope is always the coefficient of x, the number right in front of the x. So I'm going to grab the x term, and it's 2x, meaning the slope is never the x, it's the 2. It's only the 2. So B is the right answer for that. For number 3, the number has a factor of 4, and the number is a multiple or has a factor of 10. So it's the same thing. So between 1 and 80, the multiples of 10 are going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. Now let's see if all multiples of 4 go every 10 as well, because they have to match both requirements. So let's say that I'm counting from 0, beginning with 0, and I go by 4. So I have 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Notice that the 10 is skipped. So every 20 numbers is going to be a factor of 4. So I'm going to have 20, and then another 20, because it doesn't go every 10. 10 is not here. So 40, 60, and 80 are both multiples of both 4 and 10 and 10. Sorry for repeating both, but it has to be inclusive of the both conditions, So my answer, I had 20, 40, 60 is the number, the third number, and 80 is the fourth number. So 4 values are there. Okay, I'm going to erase, so if you want to pause before I do, or rewind even, that would work too. Why not? So, all right, remember the triangle with the 6, 8, 10? This is it. Okay, so what is the area of a triangle ABC below? So I notice a right triangle here, which means this is also a right triangle. This has the length, sorry, with 6, 8, and 10. I'm trying to rush, and so I'm stumbling my words. So I have the 10, I have the 8. That means that the height of the triangle is 6. And I have to multiply base times height and divide by 2, or multiply times a half, whichever way. In this case, what I'm going to do is I am going to multiply the base times the height. That's not an x as a variable, that's a multiplication symbol. And then this is a division symbol dividing by 2. Okay, so how much is the base I know that I have 8. Let's look at this. This, again, remember that that is 10 in length. This is also 10. So now I have 6 for the triangle on the right side, 10, and this has to be 8. So the whole base for the two triangles put together into one bigger triangle from AD to DB, the base is 8 and 8, which is 16. So the base is 16. The height is 6, and then divide by 2. The good news is that this can be put as a division of 2, and we can cancel uh, maybe the 6. If we had it, maybe this way is better. If we had 1/2 times 16 times 6, if we had it like that, and I wanted to cancel this 1, 2, I can cancel it with the 6. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the ones cancel. So what I have is 16 times 3. No calculator, so 3 times 6, 18. 1 over 3 times 1 is 3, and 1 is 4, 48. So that's the area of the triangle. Base times height divided by 2 is 48. They give you 24 as a trick because if you only do half the triangle, it's going to be 24. If you forget to divide by 2, it's going to be 96, and so on. So 48 is what we got from the math. Okay. Now, the line y equals x plus 5 undergoes a transformation such that all points AB, remember that AB, A is the x, is the same thing as x and y. So if I'm going from AB to 8 and b plus 3, the a stays the same, and the y goes up by 3, only the y. So this is like saying x and y goes to, the x remains the same, and then the y, we add 3. All right. So when x is 0, y is equal to 0 plus 5. All right. So we can have 0 being my x for both points. So 0 here, and 5 there for y. 0, and then 5 plus 3 is 8. And that is the y-intercept. So I need to find an equation that has a y-intercept of 8. Remember, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, and the last number, b in this case, if it's written that way, is the y-intercept. So I have two that end in 8, but remember, x doesn't change. It goes from a to a, and from x to x, and from 0 to 0. So I cannot have 3x because we'll be multiplying that, the number of x times 3, and it may work with 0, but it wouldn't work with 1. So when x is 1 in this case, y will be 1 plus 5, which is 6. And then in the other case is 1 plus 8, which is 9. So it doesn't work multiplying times 3. So this doesn't have the y-intercept being 8. So there's only one question. Y equals x plus 8. And I think we proved it because whenever x is 0 and continues to be 0, y is equal to 0 plus 8, which is 8. So the point is 0, 8. That's the same point that I have over here. So that has to be the right equation. That's a check, a lefty check for those of you. Okay, so I'm going to erase all scripts, pause or rewind or stop or what have you. Okay, and if you paused, we are now reading that an online candle business open 5 days a week. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You will see that Miami-Dade College has R for Thursday and then Friday F. So that's 5 days. And the first week, they say 15 candles a day. So 15 plus 15 and so on, right, for the first week. So this is week 1. Now, we said each week, it sells 3 more candles a day. So that means that for week 2, it's gonna be 18 and 18 and so on, every day 18. So week 3, 3 more, 21, week 4, 24, and week 5, 27, but 27 is only Monday, right? We have 5 here, 5 days. So in total, meaning Monday through Friday, so that would be 25 candles a day times 5 days. So 27 times 5, 5 times 7 is 35, 3 over 135, choice D. Okay. Now, what we have here in this problem, you can read it at your own leisure, but we have millions of spores. Remember the organization of having everything on the same level. Top floor, we have the number of spores in millions. Bottom floor is a townhouse, I guess. 900 pounds. LBS is for pounds, remember? So I have amount, quantity, and I have weight in pounds. So 450 million spores weigh 900 pounds. The question is, what is the average weight? So we don't know the weight. So the unknown is going to be here. This is count, and LBS is weight is at the bottom. So the unknown is going to be at the bottom. So let's do this for W for weight, all right? Of 1 million. Indeed, million go on top, so I have to put 1 on top, 1 million. And what do we have here? What we have here, taking away all the letters to make it just the naked numbers clearly, this is another proportion like we did before. 450 over 900 is equal to 1 over W. Cross multiplying 450 W is equal to 900 times 1, which is 900. Now let's divide both by 450. And W is equal to 2, because 2 times 450 is 900. So 2 pounds, right? We were looking for weight. All the answers say pounds, so we did it right. That's it. Okay, I'm going to erase, pause, rewind, take a break, what have you. Clear our drawings, then I do that. Then I scroll. Okay. 98 is logic. We don't have to do any math, I hope. Okay. Pizzas and milkshakes only, sandwiches. 25% are from the milkshakes. So pizza, sandwich, and milkshake. Milkshake is 25%. We know that all the cells have to add up to 100%. So that means that between P, which is pizzas and sandwiches, there is a 75% sales. Okay, so together, right? Together, pizzas and sandwiches is 75%. So let's see what number 1 says. A greater percentage of the food truck sales come from its sandwiches than its milkshakes. Okay, so in this case, it does have an equal percentage of sandwiches as it does pizza. So this is This 75 is, each one of those is half of 75. Half of 75 is about 37.5%. So in this case, 37.5 is 5% is greater than 25%. That is true. Okay. All right. Number 3 is easier to refute. The sandwiches and pizza the food truck sells are more expensive than these milkshakes. We don't know the prices. We only know that they say sell more pizzas and sandwiches than they do milkshakes, but we don't know what the pricing is. Okay. So number 2, 75% of people who order food from the truck do not order a milkshake. They want to get us with the 75%. But what if only 2 people bought things? So let's say person A was the one buying everything, buying all the pizzas and sandwiches and buying 75% of it in sales. Maybe one person can buy more than one item or all of the items, right? And then person B is the only person buying the 25% of milkshakes in sales as a percent. So in this case, we only have 2 people, right? So be careful what the question says. 75% of people. Now, right here, this is 50% of people, person A, and the other one is 50% of people, person B. For that reason, and that reason alone, I'm going to say that the answer is 1A only. I don't see how the sandwiches are pizza. I don't see where it says that they are more expensive than the milkshakes. They sell more, maybe only a few people buy milkshakes, and there's a lot of gross sales in pizza and sandwiches, and that makes up for 75% of the sales. But item by item, we just don't know which one is more expensive. Okay, so that's gonna be that. 99 is exponents. And whenever we have exponents with the same base, such as a to the third power times a to the second power, this comes up the same as adding the exponents. You just have to go with me on that. If you want to ask me in class why that is, I can expand it, but not now. So a to the 3 times a to the 2 is a to the 5th power, okay? But I don't have just this. I now have an exponent 4 on top of it. Let me write that on a different color. So I did the inside of the parentheses, right? Like this, to the 4. And the inside is a to the 5th power to the 4. Now notice what we have. We have parentheses. We have 1 base and 2 exponents. Notice here is 1 base, 1 exponent, 1 base, 1 exponent. We're okay. Here, the only single A has 2 exponents, 5 and 4. So it's time to multiply. A to the 5 times 4. And again, I can explain to you this later, but it's a to the 20th. So once we do the inside first of the parentheses, then we can apply the outside exponent. All right. So for now, it's a to the 20. I could explain in class if you need me to why this is so, and so as to not to be confused what to do. Notice, this is a separate power based on exponent. This is another one based on exponent. It's the same base A, so we can add the exponents, and that will be 5. Once you have a single base with 2 exponents, we have to 1 and 2, right? A and B, whatever. I don't want to keep writing letters or numbers. So we have to multiply. 5 times 4 is a to the 20. Okay, so now pause, continue, discontinue, do what you have to do. Oh, I didn't even erase, but now I did. So now I'm gonna leave 100 for later. And I'm going to leave 103 for later. At the end, because we need to move on and that takes too long, or does it? Okay, maybe I can take longer in class. So in the meantime, I see that this series if I place it, if I place it like if it was a list like this, I have 4 times the square root of 2. Then I have 4 times 2, really, which is 8. And then I have 4 times 2 to the second power. That means 4 times 4, which is 16. So what's the next number? What's the next number in my series? Okay, so I see that I go from the square root of 2, and I can explain this later. The square root of 2 is 2 to the 1/2, because there's an invisible 1 and an invisible 2 in the index there. So this is 4 times 2 to the 1/2. Then we continue to have the 4, but this is 2 to the power of 1, or just 2 to the 1. All right, 16 is 4 times 4, but 4, the second 4 is 2 to the power of 2. All right, so the next one, I know that the pattern is that I'm multiplying a 4 times a power of 2. What would be the next power of 2? Okay, to go from here to here, we need to have squared that power of 2. You can listen to this again, or you don't have to worry about a difficult question if you don't want to, but here, if I were to square only that power of 2, I'm gonna get 2 to the 1, right? And if I went to square 2 to the 1, remember multiplication 1 times 2, I'm going to get 2 to the 2. So that means that the pattern is, whatever this is, I need to square it. So now I get 2 to the second power, back again to the second power. Remember that that was 2, and then to the power of 2 times 2, which is 2 to the 4. So I have 4 times 2 to the 4, 4 times 2 to the 4, which ends up being 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? That's 2 to the 4. 1 factor 2, 3, 4. The base 2 being multiplied 4 times. So this is 4 times 2 times 2 is 4. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So I'm multiplying 4 times 4, 16 times 4, 64. So the next number in this sequence, you get 4 and the square root of 2, then you get 8, then you get 16. Finally, you're gonna get 64. Okay, now the next problem, 101, is going to be Jill's family is packing up cylindrical glasses. So that means they're like a can, all right? Like glasses are. Okay, each of the boxes there are using 9 inches high. So the height of the box is 9 inches, and the height of each glass is 8 inches high. So basically, we cannot stack them up. Only one glass will appear per box. So look, 9 inches is the box. So pretend that's a box. That's 9 inches tall, and the glass is going to be 8 inches tall. So 8 inches tall for the cylindrical glass. Remember how we do our cylinder? Okay, so basically all you have is an inch here. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the height, and I'm going to just deal with, so I go from 3 dimensions to 2 dimensions. So I'm going to go with the other dimensions. Height is taken care, is 1 glass per box as height. So now this is a 12 by 7. Remember, length times width. And it is a 12 by 7. All right. Now each glass is 1.5 inches in radius. So if I have a circle and my radius is 1.5, that means that a full line is 1 plus 5 plus another radius of 1.5 is 3. Any which way is 3. So I have 12 here. So it's like having like a 3 by 3 box. 7 only can fit, 3 can fit into 7 only 2 times, right? And then you have a little space there. And then, so this is like if this was inside a square, it fits like that. If it's supposed to fit perfectly, right? There's a 3 by 3 square. Inside there's a circle. So it fits. So now 12 can be divided into 4 units of 3, right? Obviously, they have to be equal and they have to measure 3 by 3. They do have a little more with the 7 because it's not 6. That would be maybe too tight. So anyway, we can see that we can fit 1, 2, 3, 4. And another 4 below is going to be 8. 8 glasses can fit into the box. We already took care of the height. I'm going to go and erase, pause, rewind. And I'm going to go to 102. A triangle has side lengths. I'm going to put 103 here because that's the one I'm going to leave for later, for the end of the video. So, and it's not a big deal not to do it. You don't have to get all 40 questions right. And today's video is 24 questions or so. So a triangle has side lengths that measure 6, 8, and 10. Again, it's a right triangle, right? So I'm going to make the triangle this way. I'm going to go ahead and do the short side, which is 6, the longer side, which is 8, and the hypotenuse, which is the longest, will be 10. And I know that this is a right triangle. Now they want to know what is the cosine. Remember that cosine means adjacent over hypotenuse. Now we know that the hypotenuse is 10. So how much is the adjacent? Is this of the smallest angle of the triangle? Remember, the smallest angle has to be across from the smallest side. Across from the smallest leg of the right triangle. So it's across from the 6. Between 6, 8, and 10, the smallest is 6. I'm going to pick 6 and go across. This is the angle. Okay, so this angle will have 3 different sides. The side opposite, which we just found, this is opposite. All right, opposite side is 6 for this angle. All right. The hypotenuse is the same for all. The hypotenuse is always across the right angle, so this has to be the longest side. This is the hypotenuse h. All right. And so the side that is left makes half of that angle, is called the adjacent. All right. So this is called the adjacent side. It's not opposite and it's not the hypotenuse. Sorry. So adjacent over hypotenuse means 8 over adjacent is the cosine over hypotenuse is 8 over 10. Since I don't have an 8 over 10, but I do have, let's simplify 8 divided by 2 is 4, 10 divided by 2 is 5. The cosine of that angle, opposite 6, is 4 over 5, or choice C. Let me erase quickly. So pause quickly because I'm going to erase before you know it is gone. So I'm going to skip to where it says 104 all the way. 103 I may do later. Okay. 104. How many points of intersection the following equations have? And so in this, we need to kind of draw them to have a picturesque or a visual of what this is. This is a parabola, but because it has a negative, let me write it bigger, y equals negative x squared plus 8. This is a parabola that's going to go down like this because of the negative sign that makes it go down. Sorry, let me undo that. That's supposed to be, let me actually undo the box so we know it's a negative. All of that to say that it's a negative parabola, meaning it goes down. So it's gonna look like that. Sorry about my phone. And so this 8 is the y-intercept, right? Remember when x is 0, y is 8. So I am going to draw some kind of y-axis there. And I'm going to start with 9 so that I can have 8. If that's the y-intercept, 8 is here. And so this is going to go this way. The other line is, as you know, linear, is a straight line. And it has a slope of -1, 3, and has a y-intercept. Notice how my y-intercepts are helpful here because it is solved for 1y. So that's the 8. The other one has a y-intercept of 5, the straight line. So 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, so the line is going to cross here and it's a negative slope, which means I'm going to go down 1 and over 3 approximately. So it's going to somehow go this way. I don't have the slope exactly how it is. Maybe this line goes over here, the parabola, maybe it goes over there. It doesn't matter because I can see that the straight line is crossing the parabola in 2 points. And those are the points of intersection. Where do they cross? It's going to cross on each of the arms of the parabola because of the 8 and because of the 5. Even if it was a positive slope. If the line was going that way, which is not, if it was a positive slope, it's going to be crossing potentially in 2 points. So it is 2 points. This is a point of intersection. That's number 2. 2. There's nothing else to talk about. Okay. The following is true when you have -3x plus 7 is less than 16. Let's subtract 7 from each side, and we get -3x is less than 9. Now, remember that the negatives, when we divide or multiply by a negative, we're going to change the sign. And if I have a 3 and a 9 positive, I have to say that is less than. But if I have a -3 and a -9, I have to change the direction of the symbol because now -3 is bigger than -9, it's greater than. So whenever we divide or multiply by a negative, the first thing we do before we do anything else, I need to change that sign. Okay, because now this is going to become, the +9 is going to become a negative. So that cancels my x, which is going to be greater than -3. And that's what happens. So do I have one that exactly the first one right there? Okay. Okay. Let me see all the choices there because I don't want to, I need space. So I'm going to erase, pause again. Thank you for pausing. We are back. Allegedly, we did all at once. Okay. Oh, we're, okay, this is the end. Yay. Okay, great. Let's do it. Okay, the surface area of a sphere whose largest cross section. What's a cross section? Pretend you have a sphere like a tennis ball, all right? Let's give it some, and you just slice it, you know, anywhere you slice it. You know, that tennis ball is gonna now be cut into pieces. But the largest cross section of a sphere has to be, if you cut it, if you cut that sphere, this is a sphere, right? It's 3D, it's a tennis ball or baseball. To get the largest cross section, meaning the bigger face when you open it up in two, is to cut it in half. Right at the half, now the sphere is going to look like, pretend that this is like kind of like half the tennis ball. And then so the cross section is only the 2D, is a circle. It's a circle. And this cross section measures 16 pi units squared. Its area is a circle. 16 pi units. Remember, the area of a circle is the rate pi times the rate, that's pi supposedly. Pi times the radius squared, I'm gonna rewrite, or let's say the radius squared times pi in this case. Okay, so because I have 16, I know that this circle has a radius of 4, because when I square 4 and put pi next to it, 4 to the second power is 16 pi, and because this area, the units are squared. So what is the question? What is the surface area of a sphere whose largest cross-section has an area that measures 16 units? So, okay, so in your notes, in your reference sheet, you have the surface area of a sphere is really 4 circles. It's 4 times the radius squared times pi, which is a circle, right? So we found out what this was. This is radius squared pi is equal to 16 pi, right? So we need 4 of those. So basically we need, and look, pi is in the answer, so that makes it easy. Pi is in all the answers. So basically what I need to do is, let me do this. Okay, so 16 pi is the area of one circle. The surface area is equal to 4 areas. So 4 times 16 pi is 64 pi, right? So 64 pi is my first answer. That's it. So the surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 times the radius squared times pi, which is the area of a circle. This is still area of circle, which we had the trouble to find first, but it was helpful. Finally, yeah, except for 103, which you don't have to watch. I'll do it, but you have to watch. Okay, number 7, Anja decides to track how long it takes to go to school each day, 5 times, 27 minutes. So we have an average of 27 minutes. Ideally, that means that on Monday, I'm gonna do that thing again so that you remember me when you go to Day College and you see the R for Thursday. You'll remember. So that means that ideally you drive 27 miles each day, but that's not real life, right? Sometimes it's gonna be less traffic, sometimes it's gonna be more traffic. And don't we know it coming to Palmetto. Anyway, so that means to keep the average 27, that means that if one day, you know, we take a minute longer, we have to make up to keep the 27 balance, we have to make up, let's say, with a 26. And if you add, the amount will be the same as 27 times 5, which I think we found out to be 135. We did that. So if you add this, trust me, if you add those, trust me that you're gonna get 135 minutes. So 27 times 5 is equal to 135 minutes. We don't need that, but I just remember we did it. So Angel drove 31 minutes. So she slowed down by away from 27 by 4. So instead of 27, if we add 4, we're gonna get 31. That means that somehow we need to gain you see the quickest Anja can get to school if she encounters no traffic is in 23 minutes. So that's 27 minus 4, which is 23. So these two numbers balance out to keep an average of 37, and let me demonstrate this to you. So if on the first day Angel drove to school in 31 minutes, what is the longest possible time it took to drive to school during those 5 days? All right. So again, let me prove this to you. 31 plus 23 divided by 2 is going to be 27. So if the longest time has to be, if the shortest time is 23, then the longest time has to be 31, sorry. So 31 is 27 plus 4. So we need to take 4 from another 27, another day, and it's 23. And to prove that to you, I'm going to add 23 and 31 divided by 2, and I need to get 27, 54. You can almost taste it. 2 divided by 54. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Take away 4, and I get 1. Drop the 4 down. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So there you go. That's keeping your average. So the answer cannot be 29 because she did 23 fast. So that cannot be the longest. 31 is longest than 29. In case you were guessing, you can do that. Okay, thank you so far. I'm going to go back to question 103. You don't have to watch that. I am going to just go right ahead and do it. I'm going to erase everything, but if that's all you're gonna see, you know what to do. Questions you may have, you can ask in class. Thank you for watching this. I am now, like I said, going back to question 103, just because it takes a while. 103. Okay. Planet Z has an atmosphere of 40% nitrogen. Okay, so this is just a matter of like doing a lot of work, and we don't have time for that. So I don't recommend maybe you do this question, but I'm going to explain it anyway. So 40% nitrogen, sorry, 25% oxygen, the big O, 5% carbon dioxide, and the rest of the atmosphere is made of argon and methane. So we have argon and methane, and gas Q, another element Q. Sorry, I should have written that on the side. So we have A and M, it should be on the letter side of things. Quickly, let me fix it. All right, so this is A plus M, right? And then we have Q. Okay, so far, 40 and 25 and 7, my subtotal up to here is 7. 40, 25, 30, 40 and 30 is 70. So to get to 100%, I need to get 30% with these 3 items, A and M, methane, argon, and then element Q, the 3 of them together. So A plus M plus Q have to be equal to 30%. Now let's see what it says, okay? Okay, so this is it. Planet Z atmosphere contains twice as much of gas Q as it does argon and methane combined. So we're combining A and M, and yet Q is twice A and M. So Q is equal to twice the amount of argon and methane. If I want to separate this, right, into quantities, 2 times A and M is like, like if you have 2 times 3, you can say that that is 6, or that it is 3 plus 3, right? Either way is 6. That's just, has nothing to do with the problem, but I'm showing you that I'm writing the 3 twice. In the same manner, 2 AM is the same as writing Q is equal to A plus M plus A plus M. All right. So I'm finding out that A plus M here, and I'm gonna write it this way. A plus M, which is this only, as AM. Q is twice A plus M. So this is the same as this, is the same as that, and it adds up to 30. So that means that A and M together is 10, right? 10 plus 10 is 30, and then 70 and 30 is 100. Okay, so now I have my amounts. Maybe let me redo. So I have 40 being nitrogen, 25 oxygen, 5 carbon dioxide, A and M is 10, and Q is 20. Altogether, you have your 100% elements. Okay, so now the atmosphere contains more oxygen at 25 than gas Q at 20. That is correct. Okay, the atmosphere contains more carbon dioxide, which is 5, than gas Q, which is 20. No, that's not greater than, so no, it's not greater than. Okay, the atmosphere contains half as much carbon dioxide as argon and methane combined. So argon and methane combined is 10. Does it have 5 as carbon dioxide? Yes. So this is also true. 5 is half as much of 10. So the C is also true. So A is true, C is true. And D has to be true, hopefully. The atmosphere contains twice as much nitrogen. So nitrogen is 40. Is 40 equal to twice as much the amount of gas Q, which is 20? So is it twice 20? Is 40 twice 20? 2 times 20? Yes, it is. So this is also true. 40 is equal to 2 times 20, which is 40. So all of them are true except for one, which is false, which is B. B is the one that is false. However, they're looking for the first, so the one we're going to mark on the test would be B. Okay, that's all the questions I have for the CLT. Thank you, and I'll see you back in the classroom.